Welcome to the African Sahara Desert Biome presentation by Danara
and Johnny Linebeck.
First up, we have our biome map. On the left side, we have the map of just the country of Africa. The red is marking the Sahara Desert, and the yellow is showing the other minor deserts. I also marked some of the major mountain ranges, such as the Hagar Mountains, and some of the rivers. On the right side, we have the Sahara Desert in comparison to the whole entire world. The red also still shows the Sahara Desert. I've also marked Florence, Montana, so you can see that we're quite the ways away from it. Next up is the 5 abiotic factors. Wind speeds can reach up to 111 miles per hour. Soil is low in organic matter as well as coarse textured, very shallow and rocky or gravelly. The Sahara gets less than 10 inches of precipitation each year. Winter temperatures average 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and summer temperatures are often above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. In winter, there are only 9 hours of daylight, and in summer, there are 15.
The common plant of the African Sahara is the acacia tree, which is found in the northern parts of Africa and some in the southern parts. There are over 1,200 different species of acacias known to man. Acacia tree ants protect the tree from any organisms, and in return, the acacia tree provides the ants with a sweet nectar released from special pores all over the tree. The tree can grow to be about 20 to 50 feet tall, and the branches can span at 50 to 50 feet at the top of the tree. The biggest species of acacia is the umbrella thorn acacia. The smallest species is a wattle acacia tree that can only grow between 5 and 10 feet tall. Some acacia trees are hundreds, even thousands of years old.
Next up is the common animal, the dromedary camel. They have a life expectancy of 40 years. Their diet consists of foliage, dry grasses, and mostly thorny plants. Nutrient-rich milk can be made into cheese. Their healthy meat tastes like beef and has the same texture. Camel meat is processed into food items nowadays, such as burgers, patties, and sausages. They have bushy eyebrows, 2 rows of long eyelashes, and the ability to close their nostrils to face sandstorms. They have ears that are lined with protective hair. When water deprived, they can fluctuate their body temperature so they release less water through perspiration. They have special kidneys and thick foot pads to help them endure the rough, rocky terrain and shifting desert sands. So they have a lot of adaptations. Next up is the endangered species, the African elephant. They have a trunk that's used for communication and handling objects. They have large tusks and large ears, allowing them to radiate excess heat. Added to the endangered species list under the status of threatened in July of 1978, their population now in West Africa is only 1,000. Their threats include rapid human population growth that has resulted in shrinking habitats, increased human-elephant conflicts, including poaching, local hunters' demand for ivory, and game guards often shooting troubling elephants. They prefer to live in grassy plains and deserts. They are among the world's most intelligent species. Their behaviors include grief, mimicry, play, sense of humor, use of tools, compassion, cooperation, self-awareness, memory, and possibly even language. Recorded sounds of honeybees is effective at getting elephants to flee an area.
Discussion A. How human activities affect your biome, good and bad. Human activity is not a very big factor in the desert because not many people can live in this harsh environment. There is people that have made the conditions livable by finding ways to get water and farming cows and camels for food and travel. They also have found ways to find water. They use the land to farm their cattle. Technically, that's the only way they affect their biome. Sparse food and close to no water makes the conditions unbearable for societies. But there are people who destroy the land by taking joyrides on dune buggies as such, which tears up the land, which then could damage the little soil the plants have to work with.
Discussion B, a native tribe or group that makes your biome their home. I did the Tuareg people. They're a Berber people with a nomadic lifestyle, moving constantly by camel, and the main inhabitants of the Sahara of northern Africa. The name Tuareg is an Arabic term meaning ways or paths taken. They believe the Sahara is not one desert, but many, so they call it Tanirwen, meaning the deserts. In Tuareg society, women do not wear the veil, however men do. The veil usually conceals everything but the eyes and the top of the nose. The men's facial covering originates from the belief that doing so wards off evil spirits, but also helps with protection from the harsh desert sands. The tagamust is an indigo blue-colored veil. The men also wear amulets containing sacred objects. Taking on the veil is a rite of passage to manhood. Tigela, a flatbread made from grain, is cooked on charcoals in the sand and eaten with a heavy sauce. Common dairy foods are goat's and camel's milk, as well as cheese and yogurt made from them. Egajira is a thick beverage drunk with a ladle during festivals. A popular gunpowder tea is poured 3 times in and out of a teapot with mint and sugar into tiny glasses. Discussion C. Summarize a recent news article about your biome. 220 kilometer Sahara Desert Run, the toughest race on Earth, by Tio Camilliotis for CNN. The annual and iconic Marathon des Sables, MDS, is known as the world's toughest foot race. The week-long race costs $4,500 to compete in. A few 16-year-olds, one visually impaired man, and several partially paralyzed people have all been drawn to the MDS to test their limits, mark an occasion, or escape briefly from their regular lives. 1,024 competitors from nearly 50 countries competed last year in the race that tests their bodies and minds as they take on whipping sandstorms and blazing temperatures of up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit in their epic journey across the desert. Despite hostile conditions, the race's popularity is growing every year. Due to high interest, some competitors have to apply to enter the race several years in advance. Competitors are required to carry all their equipment for the duration of the marathon, from food and sleeping gear to an anti-venom pump and glow sticks. 3 runners have died during the race, and there have been many injuries.
Next, we have the 5 producers. First on our list is the lobelia bush, which has very long roots to construct the tiniest bit of moisture out of the ground. They're about 2 to 4 feet tall, and they can live an extremely long time. Some of the oldest plants are lobelias. And the lobelias will make circles around the first one. Next is the date palm, which can grow to 70 to 75 feet in height. The dates contain about 20 to 70 calories each, and the fruit or dates have a soft, crunchy shell. Next, we have the African peyote cactus. Peyote has been used as a smoking product for over 5,000 years by native tribes. It grows between 2 and 7 inches in length, has tiny spines, and has a sweet-smelling flower on the head of the cactus that is used to make perfume. Next, we have thyme. The ancient Egyptians used thyme for embalming, and the oils from thymes are made into medicines. Next, and last on our list is Orlander, which is between 2 and 6 meters tall and has a poison that affects human skin.
The first of the 5 specific and common consumers is the giraffe. They have 2 bony horns on their heads, 2 long back and front legs, and a long stretched neck. They defend themselves by kicking their hooves that are strong enough to kill a lion. They're herbivores, so they eat food growing high on trees, such as the acacia, that can't be reached by other animals. Tribes use their tail hairs for bracelets and strings. They use their hides for shields and twist tendons for bowstrings, seen on the right. Just like snowflakes and human fingerprints, no 2 giraffes have the same spot pattern. The name giraffe camelopardalis means a camel marked like a leopard. Next up is the addax. The addax is critically endangered. It's also called the white antelope or screwhorn antelope. They have 2 long twisting horns jutting out from their heads. In winter, their coats are grayish-brown, and in summer, coats turn completely white. They can survive without water because they get condensed water from their food. They're herbivores. Seeds are their main source of protein, but when available, they will eat grasses and leaves of wheat shrubs, herbs, and bushes. During the day, the addax will dig a shallow hole and lay in it until night. As a nocturnal species, their eyesight is very well adapted, as is their hearing and smell. Next up is the African lion. They're the most famous member of the cat family and the second largest. Did you know that they're built for strength and not speed, or that their roar can be heard from 5 miles away? Males have large paws with long claws and a long mane. Females have a slimmer body and less hair around her face. They greet one another by rubbing cheeks and spend 20 hours a day sleeping and or wrestling. They're carnivores, so they eat deer, antelope, zebra, buffalo, and warthog, so basically hoofed animals, but they will eat fish and turtles if available. Next up is the jackal. They look more like a fox than a dog, with a grayish yellow-brown coat and a bushy tail. They have a musky smell through their coat. They let out a mournful cry/yapping sound often heard at night. They're carnivores, so they feed mainly on small animals, but often scavenge for animals they find dead. They kill small prey with a bite at the back of the neck or shake the animal violently. Did you know that jackals mate for life, or that the Egyptian god Anubis was depicted as a man with the head of a jackal? Next up is the warthog. It's an omnivore. Their name comes from the warts on its head. They have 2 curved tusks for defense and a pale gray hide with stiff brown hairs. They eat roots, plants, birds' eggs, and even small mammals. They travel in small family groups called sounders, but live alone.
Next we have 2 scavengers. First is the desert hyena, which can grow between 50 and 120 pounds in weight, eats dead, decomposing animals, and is a nocturnal hunter. On the left you have a striped hyena, and on the right you have a spotted hyena. Next is a lappet-faced vulture, which grows between 95 and 115 centimeters in length, weighs between 10 and 20 pounds in weight, and will eat absolutely anything as long as it is dead. And lastly, you have your decomposer, which is desert mushrooms, which decomposes dead organisms. Next, you have your desert food web, which contains of a kit fox, a sidewinder, a kangaroo rat, a sidewinder, and a long-footed lizard.
And finally is the bibliography with all the amazing sites and books that we use to get our information. Thank you for watching.